Taoiseach, child poverty has significantly increased as a result of the cost of living crisis, up from 202,000 to 236,000 children facing enforced deprivation. The number at risk of poverty has jumped by about 20,000, and we now have 89,000 children living in consistent poverty. All of those suggest a very serious failure of this government to protect children, our most vulnerable citizens. But maybe the worst aspect of the failure of this state to protect children is the number of children in homeless accommodation, and many more now facing that because of the raising of the eviction ban. So what I want to know is, what are you going to do to prioritise protecting children against the trauma that in many cases will damage them for life, certainly steal very significant parts of their childhood, if they end up in emergency accommodation? To give you one example, it's a case I've raised on multiple occasions in here of a mother who is now 4 years in emergency accommodation with her child, who was 8 when they went into emergency accommodation, is now 12. His mental health is on the floor. He can't bring his friends around because he shares a room with his mother in the emergency accommodation. She, by the way, ironically works with TUSLA, looking after, wait for it, vulnerable children. Now, don't you think you have a responsibility to get children like that out of emergency accommodation and to prevent others from going in to that terrible and unacceptable situation?
Thank you, Deputy.
So I'd like to know what you are going to do for people like her and others in such similar situations.
In relation to children experiencing homelessness, the most recent figures, as deputies will know, show that approximately 1,600 families are in emergency accommodation. About half of those are one-parent families with just over 3,000 child dependents. In the vast majority of cases, it's for a matter of months, but in some cases it's for longer than that. The government recognises that helping families and children experiencing homelessness involves a multi-agency approach, and Housing for All, the government's housing plan, is committed to the enhancement of early intervention services for children and their families through a multi-agency and coordinated response. That includes prioritising exiting families from homelessness, preventing families from going into homelessness in the first place, and providing sufficient help for families experiencing homelessness. It's important to say that €215 million, a 10% increase in budget, has been allocated for this year, and that's allocated to local authorities and NGOs. And that's there to provide homeless prevention services, because that's the most cost-effective way of dealing with this issue, preventing homelessness in the first place. Also providing emergency accommodation and other services for families experiencing homelessness. And our target is to create 1,300 new Housing First tenancies. The Programme Office will also provide a focus on how other assistance can assist in preventing homelessness and helping those in homeless services to transition out of them.
Thank you very much, Taoiseach.